What's up, guys? Happy New Year's Eve and welcome to the Fig Heel YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 worst wrestling figures of 2024. Stay tuned. All right, Fig fam. It is New Year's Eve, the final day of 2024, which is why I saved this for the last day of the year. My worst wrestling figures of the year, the top 10 list. Now, listen, I really am not a big fan of disparaging someone's work. I know a lot of time, energy, and passion goes into these, but at the end of the day, reality is reality, and there's always going to be some stinkers. You can't give 100% of your attention to every figure you work on, and that is absolutely understandable and acceptable. But we did our top 10 last week, and now it's time to do the bottom 10, the worst 10, in my opinion, of this year. And I'm sure you guys may have some of the same ones, some different ones, but I would love to hear them. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. You're commenting below what your bottom 10 or worst 10 figures of 2024 are. And we're going to start off now with number 10 for me. And honestly, I think this is a good figure, except for one element that really brings it down. And that is Elite Series 111 Finn Balor. I think overall, this figure is great, right? I love the tattoos. I love the cloth goods jacket. I love the gear. But man, it's one of those things that really tears this down. Okay, there's actually two things that really bother me about it. Number one, the head. I think it goes without saying, this is one of the worst, if not the worst, Finn Balor heads, period. It does not look like him. Not even the hairline is correct. The mouth is odd. It literally looks like a made-up person, and it really destroys the figure. Now, if they had an additional head that looked like him, it'd be one thing, because then it's like, okay, I don't need this head. I could throw it away. And yes, you could take a head from a previous Finn Balor, but I'm going by release, and this really does not look like him. The other thing, and this might be a hot take, but every time that I look at this figure, I see how he has those words written on his shoulder, and every time I see them, I see the word semen, and it kills me. So I call this the Semen Finn Balor. This is easily number 10 on my list for the worst of 2024. And now moving on to number 9. That's a small 9 right there. Number 9 is none other than Zoe Stark. Again, overall, this could be a really nice figure. Look at that. I mean, she had the cloth goods jacket, which looks really great with the single arm. She's got her knee brace. All of the colors in the gear are excellent. She's been on TV for quite some time. Remember, she was Trish Stratus's heater. She deserved a figure for so long. But man, this thing just looks so odd. The parts that they used combined together look very odd to me, plus the head. It just doesn't work. It just does not look like her. And it's a shame because she does enjoy action figures. Her first figure is an Elite, which is always a great compliment to, where you are in your career. But it just falls flat. I love the colors. I think that she looks jacked. It's just, man, that head does not look like her. And it does not do her any justice, to be honest with you. So that's why this is number 9 on my list. I really hope that Zoe Stark gets a makeover in action figure form, because this just, man, this is a woof of a figure for her. I really hope that she takes pride in it and she loves it, which I'm sure she does, but I gotta imagine deep down she definitely wants another one. So moving on to number 8. Number 8 is none other than the Cult of Personality, CM Punk. Another one, man. This is a figure that I wanted for so long, right? I wanted Ring of Honor CM Punk, because my first exposure to CM Punk was his one-off appearance in CZW. I was there with my father, and I remember when he came out, I didn't know who he was. I heard of him. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what he looked like, and everybody was going crazy for this guy, and I was very impressed by his performance. And I remember I was so close, and I remember him being on the turnbuckle, doing the X, and I was like, man, he's really cool. So I really wanted this figure, chase or standard. But number 1, I didn't like the way the jacket looked. Number two, I thought the shorts just looked a little odd. They didn't really look as authentic as his shorts did, his basketball style shorts. But dude, who is that? You cannot tell me that this looks like CM Punk. Nobody in the world can justify this head sculpt. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And you have to remember that there are some of the best artists and sculptors and stuff like that, digital sculptors being hired to work on these figures. Man, they really mailed this one in. Even having the ear popping out of the hair, it's like little details like that you were focused on. But what about the likeness? This looks nothing like CM Punk back then. It looks nothing like CM Punk's face structure in general. It really is kind of a shame, especially because we did get a stylized Pepsi tat. You know, they included any iconic tats that they needed to, even if they had to change them up a little bit. This one really was a bummer for me. That's why it's so high on my list. I really, really wanted this. I was expecting this to be part of the Jazzwares Vault Ring of Honor line. We got it in Unmatched, which I was fine with, and a Chase. I was so excited to hear that. And then when I saw them, I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted because it could have been such a home run, and it was such a strikeout. So there it is, man. Ring of Honor CM Punk still breaks my heart to this day. And moving on to number 7, we've got a controversial one. AEW Ringside Collectibles exclusive Jeff Jarrett. Now, listen, a lot of people love this figure. A lot of people love this figure. I think I've even seen people have this on their top 10 of the year. For me, ooh, man, this is a rough looking figure. This is a rough looking figure. First off, I think some of the best parts about it are the hands. Second, dude, that jacket, that entrance jacket he came with, that's not his, he doesn't wear super baggy jackets. That's not what Jeff Jarrett did. Man, this is such a letdown. Not to mention, let's take a look at these heads. He's like, his eyes are so close together. He looks like he's drunk. This one right here looks like he's about to foam at the mouth. They're really just not well done. I was so disappointed in this because I wanted it so bad. Look, he's swimming in that jacket. Absolutely swimming. I really, this one right here. He looks drunk. Drunk Jarrett, man. It's such a letdown because we've been wanting a Jeff Jarrett for quite some time, especially that Ultimate Edition Mattel. And I was so gutted when that thing was, removed from the lineup. But then he signed to AEW. I was like, all right, we'll get some AEW figures. So I was thinking we were going to get some luminaries, Jeff Jarrett's, and then we got this. And at first I was like, oh man, I'm excited for this. And then I got it in hand and I was like, why are people going crazy over this? This does not look good. It just really doesn't. It's goofy looking. I see the resemblance of Jeff Jarrett there, but it's like almost great. You can say, ain't I great? Ain't I almost great? That's what I say here. Moving on to number 6, we've got Sera. Now, I know there's a lot of AEW on here, guys, but man, AEW did drop some stinkers, and this is one of them. This right here that I used is the sample images. And honestly, this looks so much better than the final product. This is a sample image, but still does not look like Sera. It does not capture her likeness or beauty at all. She kind of looks like Michael Jackson. It's funny because on the podcast, Case Fresh Pod, when this first was revealed, I was saying how a lot of people were saying it looked like Michael Jackson. And I was like, I don't think it's that bad. And then I got it in hand, and my God, it is Michael Jackson. It is Michael Jackson. Not to mention the majority of the ones that I came across in public, in retail, man, this gear, like look at the fishnets. See that is not just a sample image. They're all like that I've found, like all mismatched and over the place. They overrun each other. Oh, looks like she's got runs in her stockings. All of the tattoos up here often not centered and misplaced. And I've seen plenty that are down by her belly button. And the star of this is the jacket, but man, they really did Sera a disservice on this one. Paige could have gotten a great AEW figure. Instead, we got this Michael Jackson lookalike. And that's why it's on my top 10 worst of the year. And now, moving on to 5, we have Rob Van Dam. Now, listen. The reason he's on here, as I'm sure you guys can tell, is that head sculpt. What is that? First off, when this was initially shown for the Defining Moments 4-pack, they showed this figure with the head sculpt from his Ultimate Edition, which I think is great. Looks just like him. But then they replaced it with this one from the Monday Night War line. And you might be saying, but the Monday Night War line came out too. How come that's not on here? Well, I didn't want to have two RVDs, so I had to pick one. And I picked this one because I like the singlet on the Monday Night War, at least. So there's a redeeming factor there. The singlet is kind of like, I don't really care about it. It is what it is. So that's why I chose this. Does come with the belts, but I mean, look at that. Defining moment also is supposed to be like a collector's line, right? It's a collector's item. It's something that isn't necessarily made for the casual collector. It's made for the hardcore, pun intended. But look at this, man. It's like unpainted Jack Nicholson, Jack Napier, or Joker. Very, very odd mouth. And the fact that they could have had, they literally have the sculpt that would have worked so well and was used on the render. They removed it, replaced it with this. Man, this could have been such a banger. It deserved to be a banger, and it just wasn't. To be honest, man, the LA Knight from this set was like, I don't really care. The Kane didn't really care. CM Punk, again, I was kind of like a little bit let down by that. This was going to be the saving grace for me, and then they showed it, and I was very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed because I love defining moments. I love RVD, and man, this figure just sucks. Moving on to number 4, we have Ultimate Edition Monday Night War Bret the Hitman Hart. Another one. You guys might be catching on to a little theme here. These are figures that I wanted so bad, and I wanted them to be great, and they could be great. It was just a couple things that let them down. This was like prime time, 97, world champion, Bret Hart, Hart Foundation, comes with the Hart Foundation jacket, which, I've wanted in such a form-fitting factor like this. I love all the gear. I love the colors they use. The glasses are right. This is something we've needed. The championship's there. But, dude, we've been saying for a long time, they do not get Bret's face right. And then they give us this. First off, I would say this one right here, Stoned Bret, is probably the best of the 3. This one right here does not look anything like Bret. The face that he's making, what's that mouth, the eyes, like this looks nothing like him. And this, what? Why do this mouth open one? I don't understand what it is, but there must be something about Bret Hart's face that is difficult to capture in a sculpt. But dude, I had such high hopes. And the thing is, like, without the heads, it is an excellent figure. I love it. I really do. The gear is a chef's kiss. Spot on. But those heads, Buzz, your girlfriend, woof. Check that out, man. Look at that. What is this? Look at that. Why even sculpt that? That was my biggest question. Is why did you even say, hey, I got an idea for a head. Let's look like Bret's really in pain, like he's coughing. What are we doing here? This has no place in the wrestling figure space. This again is like probably the best one in my opinion of the 3, and it's still not that good, guys. So that's why that is number 4. And now we're getting into tough territory. Number 3, Ultimate Edition LA Knight. Woof. This is the mega woof right here for WWE. This is, in my opinion, the worst WWE figure of the year. So I guess you can assume that 2 and 1 are going to be AEW, right? First off, this was kind of disappointing that he was getting an Ultimate Edition that was basically the same as the Defining Moments Elite. He comes to Let Me Talk to You shirt, which is nice, right? The vest, nice. The glasses, the hands, whatever. But dude, what are these heads? These are not LA Knight. Who is that? Who is this guy? This looks like a random guy off the street. It's almost like they needed a sculpt, but they didn't have a schedule to get LA Knight scanned in time. So they were like, oh, let's just grab the closest guy that we see on the street, bring him in and scan him. Very odd, man. What is that? Same thing with this one. I call this the head. So he looks like he's saying, but dude, the eyes are all over the place. It's just not good. And over here, I call this like the Whoville LA Knight. They did not capture this guy's likeness at all. They literally just polished a turd right here, man. They tried. And guess what? You can't polish a turd. So that's why this is number 3 on my list. And number 2, listen, I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith. But I did not need a Jason Mewes AEW figure. And you cannot tell me that this Chris Jericho does not look like Jason Mewes. He's even got the dark circles around it, looking like he's stony baloney. Man, this is such a letdown. Plus, I really love Lionheart Jericho, so I was stoked that we were going to be getting this type of gear. I don't get it. What is with this head? I didn't like the Walmart exclusive one. This one's even worse. This one's even worse the way that they did the deco. And it's crazy to me because I think one of the best Chris Jericho heads is that unreleased AEW Unrivaled Series 1 head that was featured on the box of the Action Ring. Give us that. Give us that. It looks just like him. And it's neutral. It's all you needed to do was do that. Instead, look at this. This is not modern day Chris Jericho. Look how slender the face is. Looks like Jason Mewes to me. Such a disappointment, especially since, man, I love how AEW has no problem with nailing his tattoos. Something that Mattel just wouldn't do. So the fact that Jazzwares is doing it, it's so disappointing when they really drop the ball on a Jericho. And number one is what I believe should be number one on every single person's worst of 2024 list. I hope it is because it's very deserving. If it's not on your worst little year, if it's on the best of 2024, I don't know what you're thinking. And that is Target exclusive AEW pay-per-view Double or Nothing Britt Baker. The saving grace of this figure is the Owen Hart Championship. To me, that is the only redeeming quality of this figure. And that's the reason I bought it. If you want this for the belt, because I don't think anybody wants it for the figure, you could literally find this at any Target in America at any time. And this thing has still been rotting shelves despite it surviving multiple sales, clearances, $10 drops. I mean, this thing's been on clearance forever in my area and nobody's buying them because just look at it, dude. Look, it's horrible. It's horrible. You got that Hart Foundation style gear, but the body is very odd and wonky and just lumpy. Which those pegs, man, those pegs are woof. But come on, this head. You're going to do Britt like that? That head is horrible. Smeared ass, looking makeup. Woof. This is easily the worst figure of 2024, in my opinion. And I really couldn't think of one that was worse than this. One that people just did not want to buy. So, again, that is my list of the worst 10 figures of 2024. And honestly, I would love to hear yours. Again, smash that subscribe button. Comment below what you think is the worst figure of 2024. Do you think my set's out of line? Let me know. Comment below. I would love to hear. But I think I have just reasons for all of these. I am of the mindset that certain things can be overlooked, right? But one thing that cannot be overlooked in an action figure that is supposed to be representing a person is the likeness. If the likeness is not there in the head, I don't know who the figure is of, you know? And there's a couple of these that really spoiled the figures, right? Like this. If you just showed me this head, didn't show me the body, and said, who is this? I honestly would not have any idea. I'd probably say Kurt Cobain or something like that. I would not know. I would not know for the CM Punk. So I would love to hear your top 10 worst figures of the year. And if they're not like mine, that's fine. I'm just very curious to see what you guys have in mind. So hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Fig Heel. Twitter is at The Fig Heel. Pick up the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, available now on Amazon.com, or simply go to heelbooks.com and pick it up today. Are you a wrestling figure collector of WWE Mattel, AEW Jazzwares, and everything in between? Then you need Fig Heel's Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, the modern edition covering all releases from 2010 to present day. Featuring over 5,000 photos of action figures from the hottest brands, including independent toy makers. Keep track of what you have, want, and need, including loose, mock, and overall collection value. With shots by Matthew Goldberg, the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia is a must-have for collectors. Premium full-color and value black and white editions available now on Amazon.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Fig Heel. Pick up my book series on Amazon and my merchandise on ProWrestlingTees.com/FigHeel. Join my official sponsor, Whatnot, at WhatHeal.com and receive $15 off your first purchase.